Welcome to the Mom Needs a Moment podcast. We're your hosts, Chrissy
and Cindy,
co-founders of Her Health Collective.
We are two moms obsessed with revolutionizing the way moms take care of themselves. We are so glad you're here. Let's dive in. Dr. Kara Wada's mission strives to help us all become immune confident. Dr. Kara is a board-certified pediatric and adult allergy, immunology, and lifestyle medicine physician. That's just half of her role. She's also a mom of 3 young kids, a wife, a systemic Sjogrens patient, a certified life coach, a TEDx speaker, and a pageant girl. She is Dr. Ohio America. She loves some sparkle from time to time. In our previous episode with Dr. Kara, she offered insight into the current medical system and how it doesn't work for patients or physicians. She discussed medical gaslighting and offered some suggestions and tips on how moms can feel empowered and seen when speaking to medical professionals. In this week's episode, we pick up where we left off, discussing the current healthcare system. However, we move into discussing changing the system and how to make that happen. We then move into discussing allergies, autoimmunity, and immune deficiency. We end our discussion by talking about boosting the immune system, and she provides us with some easy-to-apply tips that we can all begin implementing right away to increase both our families and our own immunity. Let's talk about change.
Yeah.
If there are so many people dissatisfied with our medical system, why isn't change happening? And how can we make it happen?
Yeah.
What are you doing to make it happen?
Part of it, physicians as a group have had a really hard time coming together. Like there really have not been unions that we've seen, union movements in years and decades past that have made big social change. So I think that's been hard, kind of getting folks on board with having some consensus. There's a lot of divide in the country, and that includes amongst physicians in the right steps forward. What I have tried to do is make meaningful decisions in how I practice, in how I'm running my business and partnerships, in aligning myself with people that in businesses that I think are trying to be the change. So I've been incredibly fortunate that the department I work in at Ohio State has not pushed back too much on the fact that I want an hour-long visit with my new immune system or immunology patient evaluations. That's how long it takes for me to do a good job with those patients. And hopefully they get scheduled in the right setting, in the right spot. But that's, something I've advocated for. Does that mean that I end up bringing in less revenue and probably make less too? Yes, but that's how I choose to practice medicine. I also have really been trying to think of ways through kind of my entrepreneurship and consulting work of partnering. So I've partnered with a startup called Isla Health, and they really are built from the ground up with the idea of centering that autoimmune patient's journey and healthcare around the patient and supporting the patient in the ways that they need to. And what's different about them is they're really working to do that within the insurance marketplace. So they were recently approved under Medicare, which has been really important. They have done a lot of work with long COVID. I'm not clinically seeing patients with them, but helping to kind of do what I can, to with their social media and outreach and building relationships with colleagues with them. And then, I think there are boxes that are expected for academic physicians, for entrepreneurs, for moms, for autoimmune patients. And this is where that little rebelliousness comes in of just not allowing those limiting beliefs or those preconceived notions to get in the way, and to realize that I think there is a lot of power in building those communities. And so I think, at least within the chronic illness and autoimmune illness space, I think there will be a major need for folks like myself that are healthcare professionals with chronic illness to share this story with our colleagues, because I think sometimes it's a delicate topic to bring up. I remember the first time I used the term medical gaslighting with my husband. He's a physician too, and he got super offended. He's like, what?
Oh no.
So I think I'm hopeful that I can kind of be that bridge and just keep chipping away at it as best I can.
Thank you for doing what you do. I think your patients are very lucky to have you. And I think voices like yours are essential. They are essential for making any kind of positive change in this area. So thank you. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. This is something I briefly mentioned at the top of the show. It seems like we're hearing more and more about the prevalence of allergies, autoimmunity, and immune deficiency. And it seems like it's appearing at a younger and younger age. Don't know if that's true, but that's what it seems like. Can you help us, A, know if that is true, B, understand the differences between allergies, autoimmunity, and immune deficiency, and how each of those manifest in the body and how we can respond to them?
Yeah. So I group them together under the umbrella of misbehaving immune systems. So our immune system at its core is our body's defense system. Misbehaving immune systems essentially are demonstrating that the immune system is either inappropriately seeing something on the outside world as a danger signal, that's allergy. So pollen, peanut, penicillin, any of those things, we should ignore them, but instead the immune system, in particular cells in the immune system, are saying, hey, this is not right. Autoimmunity is a failure of our immune system to recognize ourselves as safe. So it's a failure of tolerating ourselves. And immune deficiency is when the immune system is not doing the best job at recognizing infection or fighting off infection. And many times that means it doesn't do a great job of the cleanup afterwards too. And the real obnoxious thing about our immune system is that in cases of immune deficiency, we actually can see an increased risk of allergy and autoimmunity in many cases, because that cleanup job is leaving the immune system open to, recognizing things inappropriately, especially our own pieces of ourselves that, normally the immune system wouldn't see. We are seeing an increase overall, especially in allergy. We've kind of seen, starting back in the Industrial Revolution, you start hearing kind of some reports, especially in the upper echelons of society in England, hay fever. And that's when you kind of really start hearing about allergy initially. And that's just kind of marched along and progressed over time. So into the 1900s, we see more asthma, breathing issues. And that has continued to rise until around 2000, 2010-ish, and then it has kind of plateaued. And then, I'm a mid-80s baby, and I don't remember anyone in my class having a food allergy. And now 1 in 10 or so kiddos will have a food allergy. My daughter Josephine was allergic to egg. She thankfully has outgrown it, but our family had no history of allergy or autoimmunity. There's thoughts to be several reasons, though at this point, a lot of the data is kind of correlation, not necessarily proven causation, but it doesn't take too much imagination to put ourselves back to maybe where our grandparents or great grandparents were living and realizing that a lot has changed in our environment from, Tupperware parties. So plastics came to be, antibiotics weren't really available till right after World War II. That's when you see penicillin and sulfa meds kind of come to be. Our food is shipped from all over. So we're not eating kind of the types of foods or, seasonally like things would have been. The amount of sugar in our diet has gone up immensely in ultra processed and processed foods. And not to say all of these are bad, but they have implications in how our immune system cells communicate with one another, implications in our microbiome. And increasingly, we are seeing studies that show that some of these changes in our microbiome or some of these exposures along the way turn on or turn off our genes through kind of those epigenetic changes that lead to the potential of autoimmune or allergic conditions.
To our Patreon supporters, thank you. We appreciate you so much. Our goal has always been for moms to know they're not alone in the tough and challenging phases of motherhood. We know Mama Needs a Moment provides this to our listeners.
We are thrilled with the growth of the podcast over the past 2 years. Last year, Spotify shared that Mama Needs a Moment was in the top 30% most followed podcasts, was heard in 9 countries, and had more content than 97% of other creators in the family category.
We have recently launched a Patreon account for Mama Needs a Moment. This is a great way for you to provide additional support to Her Health Collective.
We've set up 3 options for Patreon supporters, each with its very own perks, such as special events, discounts, and bonus content from each and every podcast guest that is available only to our Patreon supporters.
Will you become a Patreon supporter? It would mean the world to us. As an adult, I developed oral allergy syndrome. So
bummer.
I can't eat raw apples, raw peaches, raw carrots. They are cooked, they're fine, but I can't eat them raw. Mm-hmm. And also I developed an allergy to alcohol, which is very, very sad. I got a lot of drinking in when I was young, but I've found if I take an allergy pill, I can still drink, but it's probably not the best thing for my body. But I mean, as you're talking, I'm like thinking of these things like, is it my mom's fault for putting food in plastics? You know, like,
yeah,
is there something else I can blame my mom for?
our minds go down the rabbit hole, and we do the best we can with the knowledge we have. And it's hard to know, like, okay, how much should I be doing? How much should I be stressing? Also realizing that the stressing doesn't help, right? Like on our systems. But we do have good science to say that eating a diet that's rich in plants is helpful for our microbiome. It's helpful for heart health, and likely, you know, that the data is increasing to say helpful for our immune system health. Trying to learn and teach good sleeping habits and encourage our kids to play outside and to have meaningful human connection as best we can in this virtual world that we have. All of those things have significant health benefits to them.
Oh, anytime somebody's like, should I blame my mom? I'm like, oh man, what are my kids going to blame me for?
I know, right?
I know.
Think about that all the time.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I still think back to the perm my mom put in my hair when I was in first grade. Like, yes! My daughter is in first grade, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, she put those chemicals on my hair. But then it also was this generation that we went on a road trip, and like we had a sedan that the seats went down to turn the back seat into the trunk, right? And we made it like a little camp out area, right?
Yes.
There were
absolutely
like nowadays, that age, we still would be in booster seats.
Exactly. Yeah. What were seatbelts? I don't know. I mean, I stayed in the car when my mom went into the store all the time. And then we'd be like, why did you talk so long? Yes. Things definitely
My mom ran to get her cigarettes. I mean,
yeah, right. My dad smoked for a long time. It's just so different.
And
it's so different.
I was formula fed, like, my sister was too. We turned out pretty good, but you do wonder, as these little things add up over time, how much are we going to discover?
I guess we just can't avoid it. I'm going to be blamed. Mama's going to be blamed.
I guess we can instill some of like the mindfulness and grace giving and self-compassion practices that hopefully will minimize that a bit.
That's so true. Thanks for bringing that around and talking me off the cliff.
The gap and the gain. We'll work on what we can.
Exactly. Well, there seems to be a debate between professionals on the term balance and the term boost when discussing health and wellness and the immune system. This delineation is even more important to discuss as we are continuously bombarded with accounts of serious viruses. I'm just going to name a couple: COVID, flu, RSV. I mean,
oh my gosh, yes.
It was in the fall. It was like, watch out, get your vaccinations. What's the difference between boosting the immune system and balancing the immune system?
Yeah, I mean, all of it is marketing, right? Like the wellness industry is $4.5 trillion. Healthcare industry, I'm sure, is multiple times that too. A lot of it's marketing terminology. As an allergist immunologist, the term immune boosting is like one of those things that gets me like activated, right? Like, but that's kind of part of my circle. In part because if you think about what we talked about with allergies and autoimmunity specifically, the immune system's already overreacting to things that it shouldn't be. So the idea of boosting it seems less helpful. And some of the products that are out there we've seen actually have some potential to trigger a flare. For instance, echinacea is one that we would worry about that has the potential in someone with autoimmune conditions to cause problems. Or in certain more natural allergy treatments, there are many times allergens as ingredients in the product. So things very closely related to ragweed, for instance. So if you had a ragweed allergy, that would not be ideal. I prefer the term immune balancing just because if, what we described, the immune system it's so complicated and it's so elegant. And really the word I come back to describe that misbehaving immune system when I'm talking with other clinicians is dysregulation. It's out of whack. And we're trying to put things back into balance as best we can. Now, the reality is it's a really complicated system and no one has cracked the code on specifically how to do that, despite what their ads will tell you.
So are there some easy to apply tips that
Christy
and I guess you can help our listeners too, if you'd like to, that we can begin implementing right away.
I mean, keeping it simple. So washing our hands, super simple, right? Getting our age appropriate recommended vaccines. That is boosting your immune system in a way that you're exposing your immune system to, little pieces of the bacterial or viral infections and making some like pre-memory to them. I liken it to like the FBI's most wanted pictures, right? You get a image of what you're looking for so your immune system can identify it more rapidly. But then the simple things like trying to get a good night's sleep, learning to manage stress, eating the rainbow and a variety of plants, really beneficial. And getting out into nature, movement is important too. And play is really beneficial.
Such a key word.
Yeah.
No, but
even
everybody
for us
forgets
as adults. Yeah.
Everybody forgets to play.
Yeah.
It's sad that we don't.
I mean, I think back to before. So I was diagnosed with Sjogren's within 2 weeks of Josie being diagnosed with her egg allergy. And that was like our family's big stop. What's going on? In realizing that we kind of had just been trying to keep up, right? Like just keep swimming and hit the pause button to say, okay, how can we actually be more purposeful? And thinking back to that time before and even a little bit after too, right? Like this has been a slow evolving process the last few years, but like we didn't make time for play.
What'd you figure out? What are some answers that you came up with to help yourself find play?
I think the biggest thing was sitting down and taking the time, reading some Brene Brown and figuring out what the heck, like my values were.
We love you,
like,
Brene.
Yes. Like, what are my values? Like what, and then trying, even when it's scary, to try to make some of those decisions in alignment with those, which has meant like a lot of work in trying to put up some boundaries. And that includes in my patient care too. Like I kind of for a long time was always trying to like, okay, let's use the MyChart all the time. But I realized that like I was getting 20, 30 MyChart messages a day and, sometimes messages back and forth. And now like my rule is like, if it's going to take more than a couple of messages or more than 2 minutes for me to take care of, I need to at least do a televisit or something, because many times that will be able to take care of the problem easier, but also it accounts for my time in the office as well. And saying no to things that just weren't serving me.
This is so hard. I'm working on this too. Thank you so much for sharing that, Kara. I think that is important. And all of the tips and suggestions that you mentioned are things that I know we've all heard a million times. Get out in nature.
Doing it though.
It's hard. It's hard to put it in practice. But hearing it again and again, and it's like that FBI picture you mentioned. The more we hear it, the more it's in there.
Yeah, pick one.
Golden. Thank you so much.
We really enjoyed our time speaking with Dr. Kara, and we hope you were able to gather some useful information. Here are our 3 takeaways from this episode with Dr. Kara Wada. Number 1, change. If there are so many people dissatisfied with our medical system, why isn't change happening? Dr. Kara mentioned that there's a lot of divide in the country and that physicians as a group are no exceptions with deciding what the right steps forward are. They have had a really hard time coming together and finding some consensus. In order to be an influencer of change, Dr. Kara is attempting to make meaningful decisions on how she practices medicine and in how she's running her business and partnerships. She strives to align herself with people that she believes are trying to be the change. The personal choices in how she practices medicine may not be the most financially lucrative for her, but she is doing what is best for her patients. She knows that her new patient and immunology patient evaluations need an hour-long visit. Dr. Kara said that that's how long it takes for her to do a good job with those patients. She mentioned that there are boxes that hold expectations for academic physicians, for entrepreneurs, for moms, autoimmune patients. And she said, pushing back and not allowing those limiting beliefs or those preconceived notions to get in the way, and to realize that there is a lot of power in building those communities who rebel against the boxes that restrict doing what is best for the patient. Number 2, Dr. Kara groups allergies, autoimmunity, and immune deficiency under an umbrella of misbehaving immune systems, which means that the immune system is either inappropriately seeing something on the outside world as a dangerous signal. That's, in other words, an allergy. For example, pollen. Autoimmunity is a failure of our immune system to recognize ourselves as safe. In other terms, the immune system makes a mistake and begins attacking the body's own tissues or organs. An example of this is type 1 diabetes. Immune deficiency is when the immune system is not doing the best job at recognizing infections or fighting off infection. When we asked Dr. Kara why it seems we are seeing an uptick in these immune responses, she said that the data is of correlation, not necessarily proven causation, but that a lot has changed in our environment over the years. And these changes have implications in how our immune system cells communicate with one another. Number 3, we asked Dr. Kara for easy to apply tips that can be implemented right away to increase both our families and our own immunity. Many of the tips that she shared are things that we have heard many, many times, but are not always easy to implement. She suggested getting our age-appropriate recommended vaccines, which boost the immune system, so your immune system can identify the illness more rapidly. Other suggestions, she said, trying to get a good night's sleep, washing your hands, learning to manage stress, eating the rainbow in a variety of plants, getting out into nature. She also said prioritizing movement and play, which is something adults need to do more often. Dr. Kara said, hitting the pause button and being more purposeful with how you are living your life is also extremely important. We hope you enjoyed our conversation with Dr. Kara. If you're interested in bonus content from our talk with Dr. Kara Wada, become a Patreon supporter of Mama Needs a Moment and have access to additional information only provided to our Patreon community.
High five, friend. We've enjoyed hanging out with you. Follow us so you're the first to know when we drop a new episode.
If you've enjoyed your time with us, let us know by leaving a review. We always love hearing from you. Until next time, stay true to you.